Yo, Rocco B, Scotty G, highly explicit NFL podcast, episode 12. We're coming off the fucking really explicit, really in-your-face episode 11, but we got some more shit for you today. I'm Rocco B. How you doing? And my boy in California, Scotty G.
How you doing?
Now, as you remember from episode 11, Scotty boy, we got a little heated.
Before we go any further, I got something I gotta apparently set straight because Dr. Tomas over here is pissing me the fuck off with all this shit. Apparently, during our entire debate of going over Eli Manning, Hall of Fame, this motherfucker picks out the one little spot that I happen to slip up and say that Aaron Rodgers is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. What a motherfucker this kid is. But I just want to acknowledge that the 3-time MVP, 9-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl winner, 2-time passing touchdown record, and 3-time passing leader, we all assume will probably be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
I mean, guys like Terrell Owens that didn't make it first ballot, yeah, I guess it's possible if he pisses everybody off from now till then. But it was heat of the moment. I was making an argument. I know he's Hall of Fame. Me saying he's not first ballot was just, it slipped out.
It got a little crazy. I mean, just like
it
I
was
did
a mistake. I take it back.
Episode
Fucking Dr. Tomas over here is fucking breaking my balls on it.
I thought you were going to say something about the Eagles, but I thought in episode 10 is the same thing with me. I mean, all of a sudden I said, hey, Julian Edelman's a fucking surefire Hall of Famer, and then I think about it, I'm like, what am I, fucking nuts? Am I out of my tits?
Yes. Sometimes when you don't have the numbers right in front of you and you're heated, you forget, you know?
Yeah, and you feel about, a certain player a certain way, and, whatever. But, but that's good.
Which, by the way, just to add to that, I love Aaron Rodgers' play, but he's a jerk off.
I can't stand him either.
I've never liked that guy. And it was funny because I used to always say that, and people would be like, what are you talking about? He seems such a nice guy. And then like 4 or 5 years later, everyone's like, man, this guy's a piece of shit.
This guy's an asshole. His family
doesn't
doesn't
get along
talk
with
to
his
him.
own family. Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I kind of got that vibe from day one.
Yeah. So, and the fact that he kills the Cowboys is not fun either. But so huge show today. Episode 12, we got a couple new things that have broken since we've talked last. I know Scotty wants to get to some huge news with Justin Fields, but I got to get to real quick first. I know we talked about the jersey numbers last time, but oh boy, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Here we go.
Came out with their new unis, right? And you remember a couple years ago when the Jets came out with their new unis. You remember how much I fucking shit on them, and I hate them, and I still do. I know you've warmed up to them, but I have not. Yeah. But I will say, the one thing that I will give the New York Jets for their uniforms is their original. You will not mistake them for anybody else. You will not mistake them for another team. You'll not mistake any of the numbers or the lettering or the way that the design is. It's
jersey helmet's pretty different too, with
right?
The, metallic. I think what is it? The Jaguars doing it now too with the metallic.
Well, yeah,
color?
but the Jets also.
They were like one of the first ones to do it. It was like them and maybe one other team.
And they went with the word mark now instead of they went with the circle New York Jets they used to do. I get that, all that shit. Great. Bengals, not so much. Here's my issue with the Bengals. I don't know if you've seen them, Scotty, in close up in person.
Where would I see him in person?
Close up in person. Who the fuck's gonna see him in person? Hey, I went down to
fucking.
I went down to Paul Brown Stadium myself. I tell you that. No, if you saw them up close and really examine them, all of their jerseys, the orange, the black, and the white, doesn't really matter. They're all the same. If you notice, they have the Texans numbers, the same exact numbers as the Houston Texans.
I didn't notice.
And they have the same exact name font as the Detroit Lions. And what I think is maybe just a Nike thing. Maybe Nike now is coming out with these fonts and these numbers.
Nike, it's probably easier for them for manufacturing purposes.
They ruin everything. So basically what they got is the Texans numbers and the Lions name on a smallish striped jersey. They're boring. They're unoriginal. They're not the same. I thought they were going to come out with this holy shit package. We got Joe Burrow like the fucking Cavaliers did. You remember when they got LeBron? Remember when they went from baby blue and black and orange to fucking maroon and gold and white? Like, it was a whole different ball game, right? So they completely fucked up.
New ball game.
Whole new
other side of the tracks.
You can't learn in school, and you can't have a late start. I just think honestly they fucked up, and they it's so boring. And if I'm a Cincinnati Bengals fan, I really feel like, man, there's a lot to be desired.
I got two things on this topic. One, I actually kind of like them. They're kind of very similar to what they were. They're a little bit more simplistic, so they're a little bit more like professional. They kind of look like, I don't know, high school jerseys before with with the tiger thing across the top. Now they're a little bit more cleaner, a little bit more simpler, so I'm okay with it. I don't think it's a huge difference. If that's what you're upset about, I get that. And then my other thing with this topic is, why the hell are we spending this much time talking about the fucking Bengals jerseys?
Because they're winning the fucking division. They're
Why
winning
are
the
we
division.
talking
We're going
about
to see a
this?
lot of these
Oh, my
jerseys. We're going to see a lot of these jerseys. They're going to be in the playoffs. That's why we're talking about it. And once they draft Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow is going to be back in a saddle, baby. But
It must be why the Kansas City Chiefs are holding on their whole new jersey reveal, because
they're waiting. Yeah, well,
they're waiting for their playoff appearance.
They're going to be out of the playoffs, and they're
Right,
they're
that's
worried
what I'm
about
saying.
they're
You're
worried
saying
about
they're
their
not gonna
jersey
make it.
numbers. They're worried about their numbers. Hey, we need to worry about our numbers instead of our offensive tackles and the hangover curse. And real quick about the Bengals, I'm going to drop this in a second, but why is Penei Sewell like their number one priority? Penei Sewell is a run blocker.
Because they need offensive line.
He's a run blocker. He's not a pass protector.
They need any kind of protection.
I understand, but if that's the case, then it's not Penei Sewell. So I just think they got to go with Chase and set up Burrow, make him more comfortable. What makes a quarterback more comfortable than protection? Guys that they can throw to in the dark, and that's
Guys
what
they
he
can
does with
dump off
Chase,
to, yeah.
right? So they got to go get Chase. They got to go get Chase. But all right, baby, I want to hear your shit about Fields because I couldn't believe the news today either.
Apparently, Justin Fields is coming out with having an epilepsy disorder. He's apparently been dealing with epilepsy for, I guess, the last few years of his life, maybe his entire life. I don't know the details on it. He's claiming that his other family members have a similar issue of the neurological disorder, but they've grown out of it in their 20s, and they're expecting it to be the same for him. It's never interfered with his football play, which I think is nuts. I don't even know how you're even playing football with this. Mm-hmm. But real quick, let me get your thoughts on that first, just the initial.
Yeah. Well, everything I read about
news
it is the fact that he's been taking medication. He's had it for years. Like you said, his family,
that's the other thing is they say with medication, he's never had an issue as long as he stays on the medication.
Yeah, and his family has been, like you said, has overcome it. I'm not sure exactly when they overcame it. I can't really put my name on that. But what I would say is if you really want to get my opinion off the top, I'm just fucking absolutely floored that this guy has had all of this shit come down on him with the timing that it is.
Well, it makes more sense.
Blows my
which
mind.
I should have started this whole thing with. It makes
Blows
more
my
sense
mind.
why he might be dropping. Everyone was saying it was 1A Trevor Lawrence, 1B Justin Fields from the get-go. And I understand he had his mishaps with a couple teams on defense or against good defenses such as Northwestern.
Northwestern. Well, Bama in the championship game, but yeah.
Yeah, but there was another team, I believe. But either way, it makes more sense now of why he not only went from maybe being the second to third best quarterback, but he's damn near fall down to the sixth, according to media reports and whatnot.
Yeah.
So this makes more sense, and apparently he's released this in interviews and stuff, which, I mean, I guess you want to be honest, and I guess the NFL is going to find out either way, but it's not something I would be talking about. I just can't believe, you play football with this, and I never thought about it.
Yeah.
So I started to look into it. First off, just a couple facts on this. Epilepsy is apparently the fourth most common neurological disorder that there is. It's actually a little bit more common, but not common at the same time. So you would think some athletes have had it, and there are a ton of athletes that have had it, but not a ton of football players. Some notable ones are Alan Faneca actually played his entire career with it.
He was fantastic.
Yeah, he was great. A Hall of Famer.
Yeah,
He's
a Hall of
definitely
Famer.
a nominee.
Yep.
He played his entire career with it, and he's offensive lineman, so he's getting hit all the time. In
Sure.
the head. It just to me, if it's like you have an issue with your brain, you would think you don't want to disrupt it more. Getting hit in the head. Going forward with that, I have no quarterbacks on this list. I mean, I was looking some shit up, man. I mean, and I've had a couple friends that actually have had epilepsy, and it's no joke. I mean, as long as they're on their medication, they're usually good, and they say that as long as you take your medication. I guess depending on the severity of the epilepsy, but I mean, it's a scary thing. I was looking up some stuff though, and it says seizures in epilepsy may be related to brain injury. Other possible causes are stroke, brain tumor, severe head injury. So these are all different things. But
it's bad. Yeah.
Twice it's to drop trauma towards the head.
Yeah.
So I don't understand how you think it's a good idea to pursue football when you have epilepsy. So to me, it's scary. But apparently, it's been done before. Other thing, real quick. Now I know this is back in the day, so not as severe now because I'm sure the medication is much better. But Greg Walker, first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles and Chicago White Sox, he had a seizure during batting practice.
Florence Griffith Joyner, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was an Olympic gold medal, three-time gold medal Olympic. Mm-hmm. Yeah. runner. She actually died from having a seizure and suffocating. And then Samari Roll. I actually didn't know. I remember this cat. He missed the 2007 season due to an epilepsy treatment. He had to get some kind of treatment. Wow. So my whole point on this, and I understand the medication is much better now than it was in the 80s, and I understand the Samari Roll thing. I don't know all the details. There might have been other things linked to that. But my whole thing is, this has got to be something you severely consider if you're an NFL team and you're going to take a top 5 pick and you got a top 5 pick and you're going to draft Justin Fields. I mean, you got to weigh these options because you don't want to take this guy, mortgage your future, and then 3-4 years down the line, this guy's got to retire. You don't want to pull, an Andrew Luck on you because he can't do it.
Absolutely.
Physically.
Absolutely.
And nothing against him. It wouldn't be his fault.
Yeah.
But that's a serious commitment to a guy that it's got some question marks and some unknowns.
I'm with you, and in my opinion, then if he's a top 3 quarterbacks, Lawrence, Wilson, and Fields, that's 2 of the 3 that could potentially retire in the next 4 years. It's so interesting. Interesting. I love the facts you came up with there, and I forgot about FloJo dying from that. That's crazy. She was 38. Here's my opinion with Fields and the epilepsy thing. You got to imagine, it's 2021. You got to imagine that the medication is so much better, number one. Number two,
100%.
Number two, this kid's number 1 recruit coming out of high school going to Georgia. And then when he transferred to Georgia, he's going to Ohio State. You got to imagine these schools had worries about that if it was bad. And they don't. And this kid is the best thrower of the deep ball. He's never missed a game. He's taken big shots and come back. So believe me, the NFL has taken bigger chances on guys that had way worse than this shit, and it had nothing to do medically. You know what I'm saying?
I'm with you, but Rock, question for you. Do you think this has something to do with why he is falling in the draft as far as media coverage goes? Or do you think there's a lot of other speculations out there, last in, first out? I mean, there's people saying on media there's a racial component to this. There's all kinds of different angles people are taking of why he's falling. Do you think it's a lot of the other shit? Or do you think this might have something more to do with it and we just didn't know about it till recent?
Well, here's the thing. I'm glad you reminded me of where I was going with this. It's the fact that you brought up a great point a couple episodes ago when you said, can we fucking put it past Bill Belichick to be putting this shit out? I mean, really.
Think about it.
I
definitely can see that.
I mean, this is unbelievable. The level of shit that is piling on this guy who was supposed to be the lock for number 2. Didn't matter what team was in that fucking position. He was the lock as number 2. Everybody thought Lawrence would go 1. But Fields was 1B of everybody. Forget about Pitts. Forget about anybody. He was supposed to be number 2.
I got another person I thought of today that I randomly just thought of this. Do you remember the year that Mitch Trubisky went? He got taken, 2nd overall?
Yep.
Do you remember the Chicago Bears' reasoning of why they traded up, 1 spot?
One spot, it was? Yeah. I do not remember.
John Lynch went out and was claiming that everyone wanted that pick. He was putting out bullshit because everyone said nobody wanted to move up to 2.
Yeah.
So that's another thing because you don't forget the 49ers are at 3.
Yeah.
What if they were afraid what if they originally thought the Jets were going to take them and then they just, I don't know. They don't want the Jets to change their mind on it.
I could see it.
I don't know, but it also shows a level that John Lynch was willing. Yeah. But I'm just saying, he obviously has shown to put out some false
manipulate
some
shit,
some fake news out there.
Yeah, fake news. I really believe that the smokescreen is not for Trey Lance. I know you believe Lance is going 3. I believe that a couple weeks ago. I believe it's either Mac or Fields, and they could be the ones that are putting the smoke screens out with Fields. But I still think it's Mac Jones. But again, I can see where they can manipulate people and saying, well, we're not going to Fields' pro day. We're not doing this. We're not doing that. I get it. I mean, I can get that. But here's the thing. You want to talk about the number 2 pick? I want to throw a little something out here for Zach Wilson for you.
I really don't want to hear
real
this.
Real quick. Just because, again, remember, Scotty?
Rock, real quick. It's been a long week. Is this going to depress me, this news?
No. It's going to be, I just want to get your opinion because I think Zach Wilson is the Jets pick, and I really believe that you guys should pick him. I'm just saying, I'm going to give you the devil's advocate part of it.
Okay, go ahead.
So you remember we were watching not the national title. It was the Clemson and Ohio State game.
Okay.
And remember we were saying let's see what Fields does. Like this is the game. This is the fucking game. This is the game where we see if Fields is for real or not. If he's going to be the Jets quarterback. At that point we knew Jets were number 2. So we were watching back and forth and we're like, bro, this was the game. This is it. This just locked him in number 2. I mean, we were both obsessed with this guy afterwards, right?
Yeah, he looked great.
So, and then he didn't really look bad in the national title game against Bama. He just got behind. Where the fuck did now Zach Wilson come from? Where did he come from? Let me try to get there for everybody. So Zach Wilson gets recruited by teams in the Big Ten and in the Pac-12, which I'll go over in a second. But he decided to go to independent BYU. Because the reason why I want to say this is I really hate when people and the prognosticators and the analysts say, well, you can't say anything bad about the quarterbacks that play nobody, or it's just the schedule that they have. They play the schedule that they have. They can't control that. Well, yeah, they kind of can, because they can pick where they go. Okay? So Zach Wilson decided to go to independent BYU instead of Iowa, Minnesota, Oregon State, in California here. Come on, I'm the governor there. I want you to come in here and, you play with me here in the state of California. You be here, there, everywhere. And he decided to turn him down. So
the governor is not the governor anymore, right?
He'll always be the governor to me. So you're gonna tell me, if Zach Wilson, say he went to Minnesota, you're gonna say if he played in the Big Ten against 4 of the top 20 defenses last year, is he gonna look the same? You're gonna say if he went to the SEC, of course, or the Pac-12 with Oregon State or California, you think that he would look the same? I mean,
I don't know.
Where does this guy come from? I mean, it's like how the fuck does Fields, and I get Mac Jones, he went to Alabama, blah, blah, blah. Where does Zach Wilson come from? He wasn't talked about at all during the season. Where'd he come from? I worry about a guy just like a Trey Lance who decided to go 1AA instead of teams like Boise State, a couple other teams that recruited him. You're going to tell me that Zach Wilson decided to go to BYU and play all these cupcakes? Look who he played in 2020.
Are we sure, though, that these guys all got recruited from
I looked it up.
Positive?
Navy, Troy, Louisiana Tech, UTSA, Houston, Texas State, the huge North Alabama Lions, San Diego State. I mean, it's terrible. And that's the one thing I worry for you, pal. I've watched game film. I've watched highlights. I've watched him throw. I like his confidence and his moxie. But at the same time, I don't got any chance to believe that he's played some elite defenses under the big lights when it really fucking matters. His stats jumped up like crazy in 2020 from 2019 because they played nobody. So this guy was not on anybody's radar coming into the season. So that's what would worry me about the Jets. Forget about epilepsy. Forget about, the fact that all this bullshit, he's last one in, first one out.
You're saying just take Fields?
Why not take Fields? Why not? That's what I'm worried about. Like, that's what I'm wondering. What does Wilson, with injury problems and a small body, even though he has a Mahomes-like playing ability, how did he jump Fields? I don't understand.
I mean, I don't know either, to be honest with you. But I can't believe what I'm hearing, considering you're Mr. Show me an Ohio State quarterback, and I'm
just telling you, this Zach Wilson kid's got almost bigger bust potential. That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean, they all got bust potential.
I'm just saying. I wanted to hear it from a Jets fan and a guy who likes Fields. How the hell did this happen? What do you think? Like, how do you think the Jets organization said Wilson's the guy, and give me the odds that maybe he's not?
Well, I'm going to tell you a couple things here. One, I'm not as down on it as you are. I know that's a big concern. It's always been a concern that he's played at a smaller school and that he's playing against weaker competition. I understand that. And again, like I think I told you, apparently this kid's offensive line was like elite among elite. So he had all day in the pocket to throw, run around, and do whatever, which even could inflate his stats and what he looked like. So I agree. There's questions and there's concerns there. But to me, if you're taking a school that nobody hears about, nobody knows about, nobody watches, and you put them on the map, that means a little something. And that means a little something more than sometimes a guy who's playing in a school. Yeah, you're playing against better competition, but everyone around you is like going to the NFL.
I agree.
And this is like my argument with Trevor Lawrence. And I love Trevor Lawrence, but like for you and some other people that aren't as high on Trevor Lawrence, show me in the first round how many of his wide receivers are going in the draft. It ain't one.
No, you're right.
You're right. Show me, other than maybe ETN, offensive weapons he has going in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah.
He's got nothing around him.
Yep.
So compared to like the last 2-3 years. So, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's still talent around them, but not on that level to where Ohio State's got some people. Well, not as much either, but Ohio State's got some people. Alabama's got fucking 30 people
we don't
going.
have to get into Mac Jones. We know about Mac Jones.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like,
Mm-hmm.
to me, it matters. And the reason why I think the Jets are sold on it,
Yeah.
personally, and I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm kind of just agreeing. I'm kind of settling. I don't want to use the word settling, but I'm kind of like at the point where we got to take a chance. I don't know what else
You're
to
accepting of it right now.
I'm accepting of it.
Yeah.
It's either him or Justin Fields.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know what's going on with Justin Fields, but if they feel like Zach Wilson's the guy, I got to support it at this point. But I think you got to remember, Joe Douglas is our guy. He's our GM.
Yep.
He comes from Philadelphia. What did Philadelphia do? They took a chance on a guy from North Dakota State.
Yeah.
And understand how it panned out in Philadelphia. I think you kind of agree. I don't think Carson Wentz is a terrible quarterback. And he had that one season, they were phenomenal.
Yeah.
So
yeah. But here's the thing,
think
Scotty.
He looks at it as he doesn't look at the competition and the smaller school as being a complete like cancellation.
A turnoff. No, I get it.
Exactly.
Here's what I worry about. Here's the correlations between Wilson and Wentz then. And again, don't get me wrong. I'm the biggest proponent of. I don't think Ohio State quarterbacks and Alabama quarterbacks work. Can there be an outlier? Can there be a first for everything? Of fucking course. But let me give you the similarities between Wilson and Wentz. They're both very injury prone. That's the problem with Wentz. Wentz had so much fucking upside, he never could realize it because of his injuries, right? So that's what I also worry about Wilson, and Wilson is not a big guy like Wentz is. It boggles my brain how Fields is like literally shit on. He's getting fucking shit on. It's unreal.
I don't want to get into this too much, but do you think the racial component has a factor? Like
Listen,
if
that's the fucking case, then it's unbelievable if it is because, you
I
you had
personally
RG3, I mean, I don't know.
I personally don't, but as being a white guy, I'm not going to pretend like I know what's going on. But like, for a black quarterback, I'm not going to pretend like I know what they're going through or how they're being treated or how guys view them. But a lot of people are saying there is a racial component to it. I just don't.
Let me tell you something.
I'm with you on that. I personally don't think that's a big thing. And then Trey Lance. You got Trey Lance going to boom.
I don't think so, but at the same time, let's just talk about the last couple of years, right? You talk about the draft with Mahomes and Watson. Well, Trubisky went number 2. You talk about, Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson went last. Teddy Bridgewater, 2014, I think it was, went last. So I get you. I mean, I can see
understand that. I do think out of those quarterbacks, though, the only one I think is really alarming is how the fuck Deshaun Watson slipped. How?
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
How did he slip?
I mean, you're telling me
Lamar Jackson was a little bit like who knows.
Yeah.
Teddy Bridgewater was a little bit who knows.
Watson, forget
the
about
Watson thing. You don't have an excuse for that.
And listeners, I don't want to blow it. I really wanted to get into it a little bit there, but we're going episode 13. This is our AFC version of. We're going to get you guys all caught up AFC wise. But I do have a nugget that I want to talk about with Kyle Shanahan, the 49ers, and their 2017 draft in the NFC version we will release in episode 13. So let's not get into that, but let's get into the other quarterback that we're talking about here a lot. Let's get into Trevor Lawrence real quick. Trevor Lawrence. Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
I know we're a little behind the 8 ball on this with his comments. There's not a whole lot to talk about. I don't want to go fully deep into it. But what do you take from his comments? I know everyone's basically heard him by now that he said he's not really motivated by really winning, and his dad said he's not Super Bowl driven, and basically he just says he's not defined by that, and he doesn't have a chip on his shoulder. What is your thoughts on that?
Here's the problem. Then he had to come back and really, like on Twitter, he came out and tried to defend himself even more. I think I would worry about it because I think he is a type of guy that I've heard it to where there's NFL players who live and die by every single snap, by every single rep in the offseason, every single ounce of food they eat during the week to get ready, every bit of
Tom
ice
Brady.
That's in the ice. Yeah, I mean, think about what Brady did the last 2 weeks for the Super Bowl, right? You're going to tell me this guy doesn't give a fuck whether he wins or loses? This just piles on to the things that I don't believe in with this guy. That's all I'll say. I know I'm going to pop you with this because I know you love your NBA. In my opinion, talent is a small piece of the pie that separates the good from the great and the great from the elite. It's the work
100%.
ethic. It's the
100%.
mindset. And, of course, you got a little bit of luck in there where you get drafted and if you don't get hurt
Injuries,
or whatever.
Yeah.
But to me, he's the looks like Tarzan, thinks like Jane. He's the Dwight Howard of the NFL. I'm going to predict it right now. I think he's the guy that looks perfect. He should have been perfect. He's got some skill. He's got all that. He doesn't have it up there, though. He doesn't have it up in the dome. And I think that's who he's going to be. He's going to be Dwight Howard.
Couple things. One, I know in his comments, a lot of it's not being published, that at the end he says he wants to be the best he can be. Like, he wants to be the greatest. Like there was a coach who came out and said, like, when he was in high school or something, or like Pop Warner or something, I think it was high school, they asked him, hey, like, what's your goals? Like, yeah, we got to set you a goal for you. And he said, I want to be the best quarterback. I want to be the best whoever did it. Like, that's so he definitely has that mentality. I think he was trying to. Now, I'm not going to say he's got the Mamba Jordan mentality, the Tom Brady mentality of the killer instinct, and that could be a difference. I'm not going to lie to you. That is slightly alarming, but I don't. It's not, to me. It's not a deal breaker, because personally, talking about NBA woman last time, LeBron don't got that.
No,
LeBron don't got that. No. But he's fucking the best, one of the best to ever do it.
Sure. But like
some
you said,
people think he is.
Like you said, though, in last episode, you said you can shine in the NBA without a team. If Lawrence isn't surrounded around the team, and is he the guy that's going to make them over the top?
I also think that, I mean, he's not wrong. He was being raw. Why does he have a chip on his shoulder? Why should he have a chip on his shoulder? He's been told he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Since the day he walked out of the womb.
He needs.
He needs to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. And have a 5-win season.
I want to see some adversity.
And then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I want to see him go through some adversity, and then we'll figure it out.
Exactly. The only thing I'm going to say about this, though, because I don't think it's really that big of a deal. The only thing I'm going to say about this is, it's 2021. How the fuck are we that dumb that we don't think comments like that are going to get blown up everywhere? And why would you say anything like that even 2 months before the draft? Because even if you said it 3 months before the draft, you know they're going to bring it back up right like the week of the draft.
And
every year, real quick, I don't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine.
Every year, there's at least a comment, a statement, an action, something that was done, said, even if it was 30 years ago. There was always something that comes up the week of the draft to try to diminish someone's draft stock. Every year it happens. Yeah. So why are you giving them ammo? Because I don't think this was even that long ago.
Listen, I'm not worried about what Trevor Lawrence said. I'm worried about what his fucking parents said and what his coaches said. You know what I'm saying? Like, Trevor Lawrence can say whatever the fuck he wants. Doesn't matter. I mean, Urban Meyer's going to say, I can fucking make this guy MVP and blah, blah, blah. Why the fuck did the parents come out and say this shit?
Yeah.
And they can't lie.
The coach is a good thing. I don't know why the parents said he's not Super Bowl driven. That was the worst thing you could ever say.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that. But
I mean, that would make me miserable to be a Jacksonville fan about to get this guy. But
I know.
I mean, me personally, I still love the kid. I think to me, Trevor Lawrence equals Andrew Luck. Now you can look at that as saying, okay, he's going to be out of the league in 6 years, but I'm not looking at it like that.
Yeah.
But like, I know what you're about to say. Let's get into Jacksonville Jaguars.
No, I mean, I did. I just want to say real quick on Luck. I don't want you to feel like, as a Jets fan,
I thought you were talking about Andrew Luck.
Well, I'm just saying, what
kind of luck we talking about?
As a Jets fan, I don't want you to feel like you wanted Lawrence or you want to like Lawrence just because the Jets haven't had Dick. I want you to realize that Andrew Luck really didn't have the love either. Even though the Colts buried him in the ground with who they surrounded him with, if he really loved the game and was like the rest of the league, he'd still be there. So
I agree with you. And then saying that, maybe it's a bad thing I compare him to Andrew Luck, because I agree with you. I think Andrew Luck did miss a little of that passion. I'm not sure Trevor Lawrence is going to be the exact same way, but we got to wait and see.
We're going to wait and see. Let's wait and see.
I would love to have him as a quarterback. I'll just tell you that right now.
And let's get into the Jags right now, because I know we've come out with our mock draft, and I know that we've had different guys going to the Jags, but I would say that I've said it before, if they really want to change my mind about how they're going to go offensively with Trevor Lawrence, they take Travis Etienne at number 25. And they take Pat Freiermuth at 33 with the first pick in the second round, the second best tight end in this draft. And that would completely flip the script on me on what now he's surrounded with, and he'll be really set up to be a player in that AFC South. Won't win the Super Bowl, because we all know the metric of rookies winning Super Bowls, but could potentially really change their future quickly.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of like this team, though, honestly. I think they're not there yet. They're about a year or two away. But I am going to go on a ledge here and say a year or two, where a lot of people think they're probably like 3 years away. I don't think it's that far away. I mean, they've made a lot of moves that are going to be – a lot of them are Band-Aid moves. Like, a lot of them aren't long-term answers. But they've made a lot of sneaky little moves that are a lot better than what you think. Like, I mean, Marvin Jones Jr. is a solid receiver. I mean, he's older, but still. Philip Dorsett. I mean, little pieces. I like DJ Chark. I don't even know how the fuck say the guy's fucking name. Laviska
Chenault. Yeah,
yeah, he's fantastic. James Robinson's a budding star in the NFL.
Yeah,
they picked up Shaquille Griffin, cornerback. They picked up Carlos Hyde. C.J. Beathard as a backup. He'll be a nice little mentor. He's been around the block. I mean, they got some pieces, man.
Yeah, no, they're really, if you look at their roster, they got glaring holes at tight end, and they're gonna need another linebacker. And, of course, I'm filling in Lawrence at quarterback. So, but, again, I also love James Robinson. The problem is they're not really, do they go with Robinson and Hyde? Maybe that takes Etienne out of it. But, like I said, Freiermuth they need, absolutely, because Chris Manhertz is their tight end. Not good.
Yeah, their tight ends are terrible.
Yeah, not good.
And they could still use a wide receiver, don't get me wrong. But I think they have enough to get them through at least a year. Yeah. Maybe they draft one of these rookies in the second or third round if they have to. Cornerbacks, to me, is the biggest glaring need. They should have never let homeboy go to the Rams because that's the biggest need. They got Trey Herndon and C.J. Henderson. You know who these fucking guys are? Because I don't.
Yeah, and then, they added Shaq Griffin, too. So, I mean, they got...
I know, they did address Shaquille Griffin, but still, he's not going to change. He's a good number, like 2 or 3 corner to me. I mean, I think he's good, but... I wouldn't want him as my number one dude.
They got an underrated D line. They got Josh Allen and Chase on at the ends. They got this Taven Bryan and Roy Robertson Harris. They brought in the middle. Miles Jack's still a stud.
Yeah, Miles Jack's a stud.
So
Josh Allen's good too.
Yeah, so they have a really. I'm with you. I mean, they really aren't super far away. Their O-line could be, a little better. But basically, the way that Urban's going to change that offense, and I'll guarantee you Carlos Hyde has another great season because Urban knows how to use him.
Yeah, I think they got a great building block is what I'm saying. I think it's a year or two, and you will see Jacksonville rise up the ranks. And I think they got one thing in their favor. That division sucks.
Yes,
that division sucks.
You're right. And honestly, the thing that's going to change them over the top is just mindset. It's mindset. You just have to look what Brady did with Tampa Bay. So you just have to go into a team that is normally shit. Peyton and Breeze did it with the Saints. You just have to change the mindset. And I think Urban's going to do that. And Trevor Lawrence is a good way to start. All right, baby. So let's move on from the Jags.
These Tennessee Titans?
Let's go to the Tennessee Titans, the Tits.
The Tits.
What do you think about Tennessee this year?
They were 4th in points scored, 24th in points allowed, and I can't believe that with Ryan Tannehill as their quarterback. They haven't done shit, though. In my opinion, Tennessee is in trouble. I think they're going to take a massive step back. They keep losing guys. The big notable pickups they had was Josh Reynolds from the Rams, who's a solid, depth receiver, really.
Yep.
And then Bud Dupree was a great pickup. He's coming off a fucking injury. Yeah. They lost Arthur Smith. They lost Butler.
You forgot about the other Smith that was a bigger loss.
What Smith?
The tight end.
Oh, your boy, Jonnu Smith.
They lost Jonnu Smith.
My bad.
So here's the thing. They bought in. This is where we disagree.
The number one tight end in the league.
Because I'm with you. I believe that they've lost maybe in free agency. But you got to think. Bud Dupree is going to help their pass rush.
If he comes back 100%.
Janoris Jenkins was a nice switch up from Malcolm Butler.
Janoris Jenkins is good.
So I like that. They lost your boy, Corey Davis, to the Jets.
Yeah.
To me, it's either receiver or cornerback in the draft.
I have in my notes, I have wide receiver, cornerback, and tight end.
Tight end. So Ferkser is a nice tight end, but they need somebody else. You can get, another tight end in the draft, potentially, maybe go free agency. But, honestly, I think this is where we disagree. I think Vrabel's such a good coach. I think their mindset's good.
I think he is a very good coach.
And you can't fucking forget about the two studs next to Tannehill with Henry and A.J. Brown.
I agree.
So I think they're okay. And like you said, that division sucks. Even though I have the Colts in the wild card, but I still have the Titans winning that division. And I just like how they play ball. And if they can improve in the draft and then, get a couple free agency guys that they're probably waiting on to get a little cheaper, then I don't see why it couldn't be them and the Colts. The Jags aren't going to be there next year, and the Texans are a fucking dumpster fire.
My only issue is I might be able to sit here and look really stupid saying this right now, But I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's being a Jet fan and facing those Dolphins, and I'm just scarred from Adam Gase. But I'm just still not believe. I can't 100% believe that Ryan Tannehill is actually what he is. I'm still not sold on it.
Yeah.
So this is all based on the fact that they do get their draft right, because they're obviously not picking up anyone else in free agency for the most part. They do have to get the draft picks right. They do have to keep that offense going the same way without Arthur Smith, and that Ryan Tannehill is for real. And to me, those are three major ifs in a division that sucks. But like I just said, the Jags are a year or two away. If they don't make some progress this year or next year, they could find themselves in the basement real quick if Carson Wentz turns out to be the deal, and if Trevor Lawrence turns out to be the real deal.
Yeah.
And I mean, the only one who's probably going to stay in the basement actually is Houston, because I don't know how they're ever going to come out of the basement after all this bullshit.
Who the hell?
But still, those two teams, they're on the rise, and Tennessee Titans looks like they're almost taking a step back, in my opinion.
Okay.
It looks like they kind of shot in their shorts a little too early, it looks like.
We disagree here. I will say the biggest thing is, I think, honestly, Tannehill proved last year that he's for real, because that was my big thing last year was, is he for real? I think he is, and he's got a lot of good pieces around him. And the biggest thing, like you just said, how do they replace Arthur Smith? Arthur Smith and my boy Jonnu Smith too. But how do they replace Arthur Smith? Does the offense now take a huge step back, or do they kind of stay where they're at? And again, I think they would still be the best offense in the division. Now, since we've covered now all of the AFC South before the draft, now we're going to go to the AFC East, and the only team that we're going to do today is the Buffalo Bills, because we're going to save the New York Jets, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Philadelphia Eagles for our last show before the draft. We're going to have Dr. Tomas back on talking about his Eagles. But for now, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Bills, your favorite. And honestly, you look at this roster, they're bringing back a shit ton of guys. They did not lose much. They brought in Emmanuel Sanders to help out Diggs and to help out your boy Josh Allen. I think, could they get a little better at pass rush? Yes. Could they get a little bit better and a little faster in the secondary? Yes. Do they need maybe another tight end? Probably. But their big weakness is the running backs. I mean, that's my opinion. I don't know why they have not invested a huge amount in the running back.
My personal opinion is their number one need, looking at it from top to bottom, is cornerback, actually.
Okay. They
were getting lit the fuck up in defense in the secondary. I disagree with you on the defensive line. I think the defensive line's got studs. Ed Oliver, Star Lotulelei, whatever the fuck his name is, AJ Abense, whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about, all these guys.
AJ Epinesa, they got Jerry Hughes and Addison and those guys.
They got a stud D-line.
Yeah.
And their linebackers are the strength of that team.
Yeah, I didn't say linebacker. Yeah. Their linebackers are nasty.
I mean, their linebackers are great.
Yeah.
They just re-signed Matt Milano, who
he's unbelievable.
I mean, he got hurt or opted out. I think he got hurt last year, but he had 101 tackles in 2019.
He can play. Edmonds is unbelievable.
Edmonds is a stud. He's a monster out there. I'd be scared to death to play against that guy.
Looks like Predator.
Tight end, they definitely have an issue. They lost a couple guys. Jets picked up that cat Tyler Kroft, who I actually kind of like.
Yep.
He was a solid 2-3 tight end.
And Lee Smith went to Atlanta. Yeah.
They did pick up Jacob Hollister, who was the number 3 tight end in Seattle. I've actually watched him have a couple of solid games, so he's not awful, but they definitely need a tight end. They definitely need a cornerback, and I'm with you on running back. The only reason why I have running back as last, even though I think running back is a major need, I have him taking running back in the first round overall. I just think because they got Matt Breida, corner might actually be ahead of it. I just think by the time they pick, I think the running backs, it's going to be the top running backs. You might as well go after that and then pick a corner in the second round.
I'm with you. We both got ETN going 30, and I think that would be a perfect fit for them. They're going to win the division. We all know that.
We don't know that, first off.
Well,
but this fucking squad, second in points scored, 16 in points allowed last year. This is both very good. I got some things to say, though.
Okay. Well, let me just say real quick, Sean McDermott to me he finally proved it to me that he's legit last year by winning 2 playoff games. I don't see them regressing.
Sean McDermott's a phenomenal coach. I like the guy.
Yep.
I think he does a great job. I think a lot of teams are stupid to pass on him. But there's one major issue I have with this fucking team.
Just tell me it doesn't rhyme with schma schmalin.
Josh
God.
Allen.
God.
This fucking guy. Everybody sucks off this guy like he's the second coming.
Oh, God.
I'm telling you right now, I am probably, a lot of people that you know personally, I am probably one of the best, most educated person in this because I've watched Bills games.
Sure.
Who the fuck do you know watch Bills games? Nobody, except for Bills fans. Nobody gives a shit about the Buffalo Bills. I watch them because they're in my division. So I guess Jets fans, Dolphins fans, Patriots fans, they might all watch them. This is a classic case. You can't look at the numbers. You always argue, Dak Prescott, oh my God, he gets all these, he inflates his numbers at the end of the game. People say that about Kirk Cousins, all this. Dude, Josh Allen, let me just throw out a couple numbers for you real quick.
Oh, no.
Rookie year to first 3 years of his career, right? Completion percentage, 52.8, 58.8, 69.2. Constant progression. Pretty good. Yards, 2,074, 3,089, 4,549.
Hello.
Really good.
Mm-hmm.
Kept getting better and better.
Mm-hmm.
Touchdowns, 10, 20, 37. Interceptions, 12, 9, 10.
Gotta love it.
Those numbers sound great, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you watch this motherfucker, he can't hit the broadside of a fucking barn. He's got no accuracy. He can't do shit. And I'm going to tell you, he can move with the ball. He can run with the ball. He can throw the ball. He's got a cannon. He can throw the ball 200 fucking yards if he wants to. But I'm saying he won't hit shit when he gets out there. Unless it's a body of water. Unless he's going to be ending up in the drink. Then, you know. I'm telling you. So let me just to make myself feel better, I looked up, because I've been telling people, everyone's like, no, what are you talking about? His numbers. Dude, watch when he throws balls. Stephon Diggs was the best thing to happen to Josh Allen. And because of that, yeah, you're probably right. They're probably going to have another great year. And then that's it, because they're going to have to fucking pay Josh Allen. And they're going to have to get rid of some of this fucking help. Dude, this guy, Stephon Diggs, I have so much more respect for him than I ever did. He dives all over the fucking field for balls.
He digs the ball out of the ground, huh? Is that what you're saying?
Dude, Cole Beasley, all of them, watch. They grab it off the ground. They grab it over their head. They turn their body different ways. And people are like, oh, my God, only Josh Allen can make that throw. No, the fucking receiver contorted his body in 7 different ways and got around 3 people to go catch the ball. Listen to this. 2018, when his numbers were less. Do you know who his receiving core was? Kelvin Benjamin and Zay Jones.
Hey.
Who the fuck is Zay Jones?
Hey.
His running back was LaShawn McCoy. Now, I'm not going to know a whole lot about all these offensive linemen because I usually only know my own team's offensive linemen. But here, perfect for me. Left guard in 2018, Vlad Dukas. Do you know where I know him from? Oh, yeah. He was an outcast from the shitty Jets. He was one of the worst offensive linemen I've ever fucking seen in my life.
Oh, Vladimir Dukas, huh?
Yeah. The center, Russell Bodine, whatever the fuck you say his name, and the right guard, John Miller. Russell Bodine was the old Cincinnati Bengals center with that shitty offensive line, and John Miller went to Cincy after the Buffalo Bills the next year. By the way, Russell, the center, and Vlad were out of the fucking league after 2018. That's how bad they were. So, of course, your numbers aren't that great. Mm-hmm. Let's go to 2019. He gets Singletary. He gets Cole Beasley. He gets John Brown, who, yeah, not the greatest, but John Brown still takes the top off the defense. They add Mitch Morse from Kansas City, a legit center.
Yeah.
They add Quentin Spain, the left guard. Not great, but not terrible. And then they had the right guard is John Feliciano, whatever the fuck his name is. They just re-signed this guy because he's pretty fucking solid, right?
Yeah.
Much better improvement. How about let's go to 2020, where he makes his fucking debut as like everyone wants to get on their knees. They bring in right guard Brian Winters, another Jet, but guess what? This guy was actually he was actually a solid player. I actually like Winters. I didn't want him to go. He becomes the right guard. They still got Mitch Morse. They bring in Ike. I don't even know how to say his last name as the left guard.
Betker, yep. I believe it is, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Solid.
And they still had Deion Dawkins.
They still had everybody else I named.
Yeah.
And then they add Stephon Diggs and Gabriel Davis, who wasn't terrible.
And Dawson Knox, the tight end, yeah. Yeah, no,
and Knox.
Yeah.
So they got better. Obviously, you're going to look better and now you got Sanders there. Like, you're going to look better. Obviously, your numbers are going to increase. Real quick. One more thing.
This is hilarious to me. I
forgot. One more thing. How much I fucking hate Josh Allen. One more thing. Let's look at this schedule that everyone was. Oh my God. So he beat the New York Jets by 10 points in game 1. The New York Jets had the second overall pick, if people forgot. He beat the Miami Dolphins by 3 points with Ryan Fitzpatrick, who we all know how Ryan Fitzpatrick's hot and cold. He beat the Rams. Impressive. Beat them by another field goal. Not as impressive, but impressive.
And they probably should have lost that game, but go ahead.
Yeah, and both these last two games, they give up 28 and 32 points. 17 points to the fucking Jets, who couldn't score a point. The Las Vegas Raiders, they were trash. They beat them by a touchdown. Then they lost to the first okay defense that didn't really have a secondary. They lost to Tennessee Titans.
Now, Scotty.
42 points.
Scotty, listen, let me just cut you off real quick just because I know where this is going. And I know that, this is a way to get your anger out. I got my anger out last episode with COVID. I understand this is, go fuck yourself, Josh Allen. I get it. But let me just say to you this.
What are you going to say to me?
With the schedule you're just talking about and the close games and all that shit. I don't want to chap your ass too much, but this is all without a running game. This is all Josh Allen. I mean, if you watch the games, like you said, he's hitting the fucking
That's
ground.
That's because he is the running game. He is
the
running game.
He's the fucking everything. He's
he
throwing and he's
stick
running.
To the running back. They should go get a quarterback and keep him as a running back.
He should be like Mr. Perfect. He should be fucking throwing it up to himself.
He should be the fucking running back. Is what he should do.
He should throw to the fucking end zone, go run under it himself, and then whenever he wants to hand it off to himself, he's doing it all.
My point being is he beat the Dolphins twice, who had Ryan Fitzpatrick and a rookie quarterback. He beat the Jets twice, who were the second pick overall. They're abysmal. He beat New England, who had Cam Newton. I don't even know if they had Cam for that game once. And then the other game, New England's just been shit the last basically week of the season. He beat Denver, who had no quarterback. He beat San Fran, who had no team. He beat Pittsburgh during their loss when they were going through a 5-game losing streak and they had nobody. He beat the Chargers with a rookie quarterback. He lost to a Cardinals team. He probably should have won that game, but still lost to a rookie on that.
But then
he beat Seattle, the worst defensive line and worst defense in the fucking league. And what on here is that impressive?
Who did he beat in the playoffs?
Literally, who he beat? Phillip Rivers. Who did he beat?
And he beat the Baltimore Ravens, who have one of the best defenses in the league.
So he beat two other guys who can't throw the ball 20 yards. Lamar Jackson is a similar boat as Josh Allen, and then Phillip Rivers done.
I get it, but look at all these games where he is the high passer and he's the high rusher. He does it all. He's the fucking whole team.
How long will that last?
I understand, but he's the whole team. Just imagine if this fucking guy gets a running game. Holy shit. Maybe, hopefully, I can convert you slightly because this guy's doing it all.
I'll give this guy one more year looking like this, and then I guarantee you the next 2-3 years after that, he will make such a decline but in 3-4 years, everyone's going to be comparing him to Cam Newton. Guarantee it.
All right.
And I guarantee everyone's going to be like, oh, yeah, he's not great. And I'm going to be like, I've been telling you this. Yeah. And everyone's going to be like, no, you didn't.
I know you're going to stand on that hill. I know you will. And we'll see where it goes.
Listen, it's the fact in the NFL. It's the one thing I can tell you about quarterbacks, and you can go back as far as you want and look at this. The one thing a quarterback needs to be able to do, and I'm not saying you can't have a good season. I'm not saying you can't even make a Super Bowl or even maybe even win a Super Bowl, even though I don't think it's ever happened. But a consistently good quarterback can't exist if you cannot throw the fucking ball. It does not happen. Does not happen. There is not a quarterback who is not somewhat accurate and can throw the ball consistently that has ever been successful long term. Nobody.
All right, well, we'll see. All right, Baltimore Ravens next. What do you think about their season, Scotty?
Not to get as heated about it, but I'm a similar belief in Lamar Jackson that I am for Josh Allen. The only difference for me is Josh Allen has a cannon and Lamar Jackson has a rag arm.
I wouldn't go that far, but he's you want to forget about rag arm. He's another guy who can probably throw the ball 75 yards down the field. His accuracy is, in my opinion, way worse than Kyle Allen.
I don't even.
Josh
you
Allen.
think he could throw it that far?
Yeah, he's got a cannon. He does. But he's, again, I've watched him a lot from Louisville. But
I don't know about that.
His accuracy is not good. Not good. It hasn't been good. It's never been good. So. But
they got Sammy Watkins isn't going to do much.
Yeah, okay.
Because he'll be gone and he won't get the ball.
Yep.
I mean, what else have they picked up? I mean,
J.K. Dobbins is a fucking stud. J.K. Dobbins is a fucking stud. But I really believe he's lightning. They're going to need another Thunder. They got rid of Mark Ingram. Does the Gus Edwards take over for Ingram? I don't know. Could they use a running back like a Trey Sermon? That'd be fantastic. But I think, like you said, I think they need another receiver.
Their defense is pretty solid.
Their defense is nasty. Defense is nasty. That's their calling
card. They need offense though. They need wide receiver. They could probably use a little help at offensive line. Could probably use a little help.
Yeah, like
there.
you said, they're shopping Orlando Brown. We'll see if they keep him. But they need a big guy at receiver. Sammy Watkins will not be there. Miles Boykin is your third.
I love me some Mark Andrews.
Mark Andrews is nasty. Mark Andrews is a top 5 tight end. And you got J.K. Dobbins, who needs the Thunder. So I would go with a Rashad Bateman like I had in the draft. If a Terrace Marshall drops to them, I think he'd be perfect. But I have them in the playoffs, and I really like Cincinnati. This division is going to be really tough because you always have Pittsburgh. You're going to have the Brownies. And like I said, if you got Burrow coming back with the Bengals, they're going to come back with a vengeance because I know how he plays.
I think John Harbaugh is like an amazing coach too. He's one of my favorite coaches of all time.
Absolutely.
He's fantastic. He gets that team always fired up, ready to play, ready to go. I mean, they're going to be a hard-nosed, tough team. Real quick though, before we move on, what's your thoughts on Lamar Jackson? You think he's the answer there, or you think he's gone in like 2-3 years?
I think he needs to have the offense.
He's definitely going to be there for the immediate future. They'll probably pay him.
Yeah.
But do you think it's going to be like a Goff situation where in like 2 years after he gets paid, they're going to be like, we got to get rid of this fucking guy?
I don't think he's a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I don't think he can throw from the pocket. And I've said that since he's been out of Louisville. I thought he was a better prospect than Teddy Bridgewater out of Louisville, but they both had some shortcomings, and you're seeing it. And I think teams know it. So, yeah, I don't think he's the guy. John Harbaugh has kept that team, to me, way more above water than they should be with him at quarterback. Again, that's why I don't have them win the division, and I think fucking Vegas is nuts for having them win 11 games.
Yeah, that's a lot. I'd have to look at their schedule. I don't know what they would actually end up. I'd have to get a better idea of it depends on who they draft and looking at their schedule. But like just off the top of my head, I could see them as like a 9-win team.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I would just say I don't see them winning 11 games. Could they be 10-7? Absolutely.
I think they're far from a bad team. They have too much talent around the whole team.
Yeah.
Like there's too many pieces that are good football players, so I don't think they're going to be a bad team. I just don't think they're good enough to get over the hump on some of the other teams in the AFC.
Yeah, and like you said, Harbaugh is a fantastic coach. Now here's the team that's we just talked about last episode about maybe being the Super Bowl favorites, the Cleveland Browns. Could you believe that we're saying that in our lifetime? The Super Bowl favorite Cleveland Browns. But if you look at this roster, holy shit. Crazy. They might have, I'm going to come out and say it, they might have the most overall talented team in the league.
No, they do. They have the greatest team on paper as far as right now in the league.
But again, if you remember like back in the day when Deion went to Washington and when they signed him and they thought Washington had this great team on paper and all that, yeah, they never won more than 5 games. So, to me, paper's one thing. What do they do on the field? Well, what they did on the field last year was almost give the Chiefs a scare.
They need a lot. They just need chemistry. They need order. I think, what's his name, Stefanski? I think he's actually a pretty good coach. And I think he's helping kind of keep everybody in line. I think it was just kind of a shit show when Baker first got there. I think there was like kind of an OBJ just got there. All these personalities got there all at once. I think it's a little bit more settled now. So now if you do bring in a personality, it's kind of already like the locker room's kind of already adjusted to where they can just see if that one personality fits in there, opposed to when you got like 10 personalities trying to fit in all at once. It becomes more of a situation. I mean, remember when they beat the Jets? It was like all the Bud Lights or whatever it was released in all the world.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It was like the greatest celebration ever.
Yeah.
I mean, and like I said last episode, it's like the bar was set so low that winning a playoff game was like monumental, and that should never be. Even making the playoffs was monumental. That should never be like your goal. So it should be winning a Super Bowl should be your goal, or even a conference championship.
They're doing what I said before about Jacksonville, where you need to change the culture. And when Baker got there,
culture change huge.
Freddie Kitchens was the coach, and he almost fucked the whole thing up. And they realized
when he got there before Freddie Kitchen was there, it was Hugh.
It was Hugh Jackson. But I'm saying when they let Kitchens take over, when Jackson was fired. And then you're going to tell me that they realized that after 1 year, they do want to change the culture. And they do realize, well, Kitchens wasn't going to be the answer, and we need to do this now. We got the team to do it now, and Stefanski was the guy. I hate to say it. This team is just as good as the Chiefs. on paper. This team is just as good as the Bills on paper. I mean, they are probably the most, like I said, most talented team I can see. It's all still rolling on Baker's shoulders.
Yeah, Baker. As long as Baker comes out and plays a solid season, this team's going to be top echelon in the league. 100%.
Unbelievable.
As long as they stay healthy and he comes out and plays, just doesn't fuck up, just plays steady like what he did the second half of last season, they'll be a top echelon team in the league.
Now, I know we disagree with this, but I want to move on to our last team in the AFC North, and this is the team I think who's going to take a big fall, and it's going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Opposite of when you look at Cleveland's roster, I think there's a lot of holes in the Steelers roster. And I think, honestly, you got probably last year of his career, Ben Roethlisberger. He lost 2 of his big-name offensive linemen, and actually 3. That's a big loss.
Yeah, the offensive line definitely took a hit.
Big loss, right? And then you lose
Connor. That's a good point. That actually makes me rethink my thought on it. But keep going.
You lose Connor. You got a Roethlisberger who can't move, who's injury-prone now, that his O-line is completely fucked. And then they lose a key cog on their pass rush with Bud Dupree. I don't like where this team's going. Even though Mike Tomlin, I think, is a fantastic coach. You love him. He just fucking got a 3-year extension. He'll be
Mike
there.
Mike Tomlin's my favorite coach.
He'll be there, right? So that's cool. You got him. He's there. But they have a lot of fucking holes. And I don't like where they're going. They're going down to me, and I don't think they make the playoffs.
Yeah, you make a better point than probably my initial thoughts were on all this. You lose Vance McDonald, you lose Pouncey, you lose a bunch of guys. So you're right, and the offensive line's a major hit, especially with the fact that Roethlisberger can't move. You know what's funny, too? 2 days ago, guess who they signed? Your boy, Joshua Dobbs.
Josh Dobbs, remember when I told you that? You fucking Kellerman.
What are the odds, man?
Kellerman, baby.
Oh,
Haskins ain't going to be on that team.
They got to get
camp,
somebody.
So
They got to get a quarterback in there, and they got to get to
Rudolph's
back
not
up.
the answer.
They got to get a quarterback. They got to get some offensive line. But see, you might be right. But I can see this team being a team that does tank and then is back in a year.
Oh, absolutely.
I could see this team completely rebounding.
Yeah.
I think for me though, and maybe when I originally made this pick, I'm gonna have to relook at it when we make our picks closer to the season. But when I originally made this pick, I probably used a little bit of my heart opposed to my head because I just have a hard time believing that Mike Tomlin, who's never had a losing season in his entire career, which is amazing to me, is gonna have one.
Yeah, 64% winning percentage. I mean, he's incredible. But I will tell you, I'm not saying anything about 2023. I'm not saying anything, all that shit. I'm saying this year, to me, I think the Steelers are one of the biggest disappointments in the league, if not the biggest.
Yeah, I could see that maybe. Like I said, I got to look more into it, but I see where you're coming from. They did get Kalen Ballage, which helps a little bit. I like that pickup, but they really haven't made a whole lot of moves. A lot of their moves were kind of just keeping guys that they were trying to leave, not guys that retired. Yeah,
no, they didn't. They did a lot of re-signing. They didn't do any really signing. And they got to replace that somehow. And again, like you've said before, and you're completely fucking correct, these guys can draft in the 300th fucking round a wide receiver, and he's going to be a Hall of Famer. They're amazing at that, right? So, but they got to do that with running back. So maybe Najee Harris is the pick.
Claypool looks like a stud.
Claypool's fucking nasty. Their receivers are set. They got Claypool, then Deontay Johnson, and Juju. They're just fine there. But I don't like Ebron. I don't think Ebron's the answer.
How do you not like Ebron?
Not all season. He's the Amari Cooper of tight ends. He'll show up 8 games a season, and then he'll be on the bus the other 8. But
that's true.
So I don't like him, and their fucking line is mangled and embarrassed. And again, like you said, if Roethlisberger goes down, who are you going to give it to? Haskins? You going to give it to Rudolph?
Yeah, I think the biggest argument too against the Steelers making the playoffs is the fact that division, like you said, is so tough, and the Browns are getting better. The Ravens will probably get better, and if you think the Bengals are going to be so light years ahead of what they were last year, I mean, they're going to be better. So you're right. It's going to be tough for them to do it. I'll have to reevaluate this when we get a little closer to the season.
So I'm glad you're on the board a little bit with me, but I can't stand Pittsburgh. I know we like Tomlin, but I can't stand Pittsburgh.
I hate Pittsburgh with passion. Don't get me wrong.
So, all right. So now let's move off the North. Let's go to the West. We got 3 more teams to hit for you guys. Now, again, this has been so fucking controversial with everybody we know, everybody that's listening. I have called the Kansas City Chiefs out of the playoffs. I believe they're going to have the Super Bowl hangover. And if we want to look at their roster,
If you want to change your opinion now, you can, because you look at their roster and you look like you're nuts.
I'm not that far off. They got big holes in a couple areas. What are they going to do at tackle? That's the biggest one. We all got proven that Tampa Bay absolutely bent them over defensively, from Pierre-Paul and from Barrett and from inside with Sue. They just attacked Mahomes at every angle. So they got to fix that shit. They lost Sammy Watkins, which is no problem, because now you can insert Hardman and Robinson.
Joe Tunney, they did sign.
No, Tooney's fantastic, but Kyle
Long. They did sign
Kyle Long. He came out of retirement, but they're going to play guard, right? So Mike Remmers is the one guy who got absolutely demolished against Tampa Bay in a Super Bowl. He's their starting tackle right now, and they don't really have a starting left tackle. So they're going to have to address that. So that's probably going to be a fucking rookie, and that's sometimes not great. Their defense, I like the Jaron Reed signing from Seattle. I think Chris Jones, Jaron Reed, Frank Clark, phenomenal. Tim Ward is not a great end. So they're going to have to figure out the other end, right? So that's, to me, I think their linebackers are fucking terrible. So to me, they have a very ballsy secondary who gets penalties and gets caught, chasing a little bit, chasing the ball. Their linebackers are awful. That's a huge issue, and that's where Brady attacked them in the Super Bowl. So
I mean, to be fair, I've been saying last year, I thought their defense kind of sucked last year. I thought they played much better towards the end of the season, and that's where I kind of was like, oh, man, they're going to repeat, because their defense got hot late in the season, and then they fell apart right in the end.
Yeah.
Again.
Everybody wants to talk about Spagnuolo, and he's this great fucking coordinator and all that shit. Tyrann Mathieu carried that defense. And Daniel Sorensen, you remember when he was playing safety, was carrying that defense in the playoffs.
Is it Tyrann or Tyron?
It's Honey Badger. That's what I'm gonna call him. So he, to me, and then they got lucky with Snead. Snead was a deep pick in a draft, and they don't really have guys that are like, oh, holy shit, this defense is
their
great.
Secondary is not but phenomenal.
Their line, if they can get another end, their defensive line is disgusting. But to me, the defensive line's nice. Yeah, it's great, but Tampa Bay shit all over in the Super Bowl. So I'm worried about the Chiefs a lot more than a lot of other people are.
Yeah, but you also got to look at, he was down 2 fucking tackles in that game, man. I mean, he had no help. He was getting rushed. Patrick Mahomes running for his life.
He's
in that
still
game.
down 2 tackles.
That's a huge difference. Yeah, but you gotta assume they're gonna make some kind of moves there, whether it's trade, whether
it's
draft.
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe they're one of the teams that goes up and gets a fucking offensive lineman.
Well, they should. They should, because they need it. And again, they have all the pieces. But Mahomes got hurt last year.
What if a Vera Tucker slips to like a 20 or something?
That'd be great. That'd be great. But like I said, I just think Vera Tucker plays guard. I think Slater's gonna be probably a guard, and fucking Sewell is more of a run blocker. I think these guys like a Dylan Radins, like we like, and the kid from Texas, Sam Cosmi, they're more pass blocking fucking tackles. So I can see them getting one of those guys. But yeah, I'm off the Chiefs. I really am, because I believe in the hangover curse. So
did you hear real quick? Did you hear about the Juju Smith-Schuster thing with Andy Reid?
Yes.
That he was apparently like texting him constantly to basically.
He said, "Do you want to win a Super Bowl?"
so who knows what Andy Reid's really doing behind the scenes, man?
Yeah. Well, we all know he was standing on a table talking about jersey numbers. So,
I mean, I'm not the biggest Andy Reid fan. He's one of the best offensive minds in NFL football I've ever seen, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I'm not I don't know. I guess he solidified himself as a head coach now. I got to give that to him.
Oh yeah.
But I've never been the hugest supporter of Andy Reid. But the players fucking love this guy.
Oh, he's a player's coach.
They love this guy. They'll do anything for him.
The only thing that I've ever could say I loved about the Philadelphia Eagles in my lifetime was I really liked Andy Reid as coach. Simple as that. All right, so let's go off of them and let's get to my division winner, the team that's going to fucking skyrocket to the top this year, in my opinion, of the AFC West, the Los Angeles Chargers. Oh, boy. You gotta love Justin Herbert. You have to.
I love this team.
Okay.
I really love this team.
Okay. Now listen. Now I believe that Justin Herbert's, the next fucking proactive commercial guy. But he we're not talking about looks here. We're not talking about facial skin. We're not talking about acne. We're talking about what do you do on the field, and Justin Herbert's fucking fantastic.
Yeah, this idiot cut his hair, man. He would have been like Head and Shoulders fucking. he would have had that shit locked up, and now he's gonna be on proactive.
Oh my God! So I want you to tell me, what you really see weakness wise on this team.
I think they need another wide receiver, to be honest with you. I think they
Yeah, I
need
can
some
see that.
offensive line. I think they need some offensive line help. To me, a big thing is too the secondary. You know what I'm noticing that we're going through this. There is not many good corners in this league.
Yeah.
A lot of teams have issues with secondary, man. I mean, that's a big deal.
Well, Chris Harris was, of course, the Broncos' stud. And this kid, Michael Davis, is somebody, you know how you said you watch a lot of Bills shit and all that stuff. Well, I've watched a lot of Chargers over the past 2 years. This kid is an up-and-coming corner.
No, Mike Davis is good.
And Derwin James is, if he stays healthy, top 3 safety. So
Derwin James is probably overall the best safety in the league.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, you can argue. You can argue with Buda Baker. You can argue with fucking Jamal Adams. But yes,
I think Derwin
ridiculous.
James, when healthy, does everything.
And Matthew too. But this fucking lineup they have on defense, especially, is incredible. Could they get another run stuffer on the 3-man defensive line? Sure. But if you look at their offense, like we said in the draft, if they can get offensive tackle, if they can cover up their weakness at left tackle with a Darisaw, and then, like you said, I really do believe they need another receiver in the second round. You got deep receiver draft. Love their running backs. And other offensive linemen I like too. I don't know why they re-signed Michael Badgley, their kicker. He's awful. He's fucking missing kicks left and right. But Justin Herbert, hopefully they won't be fucking in all these field goal games now. They fired Anthony Lynn.
They need offensive line. They need wide receiver. I would argue they could use some help at linebacker too. Get some linebackers that can cover a little better.
Yeah, I'll tell you what though. I mean, in that 3-4, Murray was a great pick last year. Their biggest thing that they, like I just said, that they got rid of.
Their
was
front
Anthony
seven's
Lynn.
good, but they could use a little bit more on linebacker. To me, it's not even safety; it's corners, it's offensive line, it's wide receiver, it's corners, or like the 3 major things. Obviously, they're gonna need a fucking tight end now too, because I forgot Hunter is gone.
Well, they picked up Jared Cook. He ain't bad. That's not a bad pickup.
Oh, I didn't realize they picked up.
Yeah,
Cook.
that's not a
no,
bad pickup.
he's solid. I'm honestly. He'll play more games than Hunter, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. They get a left tackle. They get another receiver. And like you said, if they wanted to get some type of speed, another speed linebacker, fine. But the fact that they brought in Brandon Staley, they got Anthony Lynn out of there.
I like Anthony Lynn as like a guy, like from what I know about him. Yeah. I don't know how the fuck he ever became a head coach.
You know who he is?
Honestly.
He's Todd Bowles. I mean, he's the same. It's like he's a great guy. The players like him. He just doesn't transfer.
But it's even worse because at least Todd Bowles was like he was a coordinator. What's his name was a running backs coach.
Yeah.
He's a running backs coach. Yeah. He never was a coordinator.
I know.
Like, how the fuck did this guy rise the ranks so quick?
He was a nice guy. Everybody loved him. He was good with the players. He just didn't belong at the top. So some of those coaches do it.
Where did he go again? I forget where he went.
Anthony Lynn is now the offensive coordinator of Detroit.
Okay, that's huge for them. I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if I believe in him as an offensive coordinator, but I'm telling you, fantasy players all out there, whoever the fucking starting running back is for the Detroit Lions, pick him up. Because anywhere this guy goes, I'm dead serious. Anywhere this guy goes, the team has a top 5 run game.
Yeah, DeAndre Swift's going to be nasty.
He makes every running back great.
Yep.
Everyone. Yeah. Even Melvin Gordon, they were like, is this guy bust? And all of a sudden Anthony Lynn rolls in there.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. But again, I think he was conservative. I didn't think he was a great time manager. And they lost so many games by a field goal the past couple of years. So
I know. That's a team that's going to make a huge turnaround, I think.
But Chargers, baby, they're going to win the division. I said it here first. Las Vegas Raiders is our last fucking team of the day, baby. We both love the Raiders. The Raiders. We both love them. No matter whether they're fucking in Oakland, L.A., Vegas, don't matter. The black and silver is fucking awesome.
I don't love the Raiders.
I still don't know how the fuck you still have Derek Carr, in my opinion. I just don't get it.
I'm not a Carr hater. You a Carr hater?
He's just not. He's even more conservative than Dak. He's just not gonna win you games.
But is that him or is that the play calling? I don't know.
Dude, he should have gotten better. I mean, he should have gotten better with Gruden. I mean, his completion percentage went up and all that shit, but he's just not a winner.
Is Gruden that great of a coach? Do we know?
Dude, I I understand the defense that he had, but he had Brad Johnson win a fucking Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
I know, but he didn't even put that team together, right?
I understand. But still, it wasn't Dungy's offense, so
True.
So to me, Derek Carr he's not hitting that ceiling that he was supposed to hit. I would get off him as soon as possible, but
I thought they were like 5 years ago. I don't know how he's still there.
Yeah, I don't know either. So
I'm not a hater on Derek Carr. I think he could actually be a solid.
He's a solid piece. He's a Kirk Cousins. That's
like
what I would
Derek
say.
Carr, fucking Pittsburgh should go get Derek Carr. You imagine him in Pittsburgh or
you're
Washington or something.
Imagine
I
him in
think he'd be
Baltimore.
good.
Imagine him in Baltimore.
Oh, dude.
So
Game on.
Right. So I just don't think he fits, and I really am not a big fan. You want to talk about not being a fan of Gruden? I'm a fan of Gruden. I'm not a fucking fan of Mayock. I think Mayock's insane. I think the picks that he's made at the positions he's made them is awful. I mean, over the past 3 years he's been there, their draft picks are terrible, man. Terrible.
You think they're that bad?
They got fucking Josh Jacobs, great, cool, and they got Colton Miller at left tackle, great. But you want to talk about all these other fucking misses that they drafted? Ruggs, fucking Trayvon Mullen, Jonathan Abram was real high. Cleveland Farrell is a fucking awful draft pick at number 4.
I don't think Abrams terrible yet.
He was
I think
high.
It's too soon to tell.
He was too high. Yeah.
But I think Ruggs. I don't think I don't think the verdict's out on Ruggs yet either. I think we still got to figure out what's up with Ruggs. Like I think a lot of these guys still need some time. A lot of them are young.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like the way he drafts.
I will say this though: he had so many picks in the first round, and he should have a lot more talent than he
Absolutely.
has. I'll give you that.
Absolutely. And again, I get trading Mac, I get getting all the picks, I understand that, but they got to fucking hit on those picks, and they've been overdrafting almost everybody. But Darren Waller is the guy who I always forget. He's literally my favorite tight end in the league. He's my favorite even more than Jonnu Smith.
I think I can go with you on that too. I love this guy. I love Kittle too, but Waller's a fucking stud.
I love Waller. Love Waller. I believe Renfro's a great slot. They got John Brown coming in, another speed guy. He's got to stay healthy. And they brought in a little sneaky fucking receiver, Willie Snead. Willie Snead's productive, man. He can play. Willie Snead can play.
He gets hurt a lot though too.
But then you got to think about Jacobs and Drake. They brought in Kenyon Drake. What a steal, bringing him in.
I think that I think him and Jacobs is going to be a nice 1-2, man.
Very nice punch.
Scary.
They got a disgusting offensive line. They need a little help at right tackle, and I think that's where they're going to go get Tevin Jenkins in the first round. They brought in Yannick Ngakoue on defense on the edge, right? So they've got some pieces on defense. Abrams nasty. He just got to stay healthy. And then and Damon Arnett's another one that I think they went a little over the top for from Ohio State. So they have this defense that's fast, but they're a little undersized everywhere. The only thing I would say is they're opening up that stadium, right? They're bringing
you'd
the
think
people
they make
in.
some more splashes.
I know.
They haven't really made any splashes.
Well, guess what, pal? You got a splash in your draft.
Oh yeah, what do
you
I got?
Mac Jones. You got Mac Jones.
That's true. That would be a splash.
That's a fucking
and it would be
splash.
even better if they got Mac Jones and then traded Carr out for other players that are already established, because clearly they can't fucking draft them. So go get some guys that are already fucking studs, because honestly, looking at this roster, the offense, there is, other than Waller, there's nobody that wows me. Waller and Jacobs other than those two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But honestly, there's no wide receiver. There's no offensive lineman. There's no other running back.
Well,
I guess Kenyon Drake.
Yeah.
So I guess running back and one tight end, but still,
You're saying you're just
wide
shitting on the wide
receiver
receiver
and offensive line
Yeah.
is basically no one on there. I'm like, oh man, this guy's a fucking beast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's not really anybody there.
Yeah, I like their lineup more than you do. I like Miller, I like Incognito, and I like Martin. And Good is an okay guard. They need a right tackle. But their receivers, like you said, they're all small. They don't have a big dog at receiver. I get you there. They got a great 1-2 punch at running back. And Waller is a stud muffin. It all comes down to how they play defense and how Gruden manages Carr in the most important games of the year. They fucking tease me. They let me shoot in my shorts when they beat Kansas City at home last year. When they beat Kansas City at home, I said, maybe this is the team. Maybe this is the one finally we've been waiting for.
Everybody thought that.
With the fucking Raiders, and then boom, 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 they fall off. So
it's hard to judge teams that play in division because they see each other so often.
Yeah.
They know each other so well.
You're right.
It's hard.
Yeah, right. I fell for it. So I'm hoping they're for real, but honestly, in this division, they're the only team that'll be better than will be Denver.
How do you feel about their corners?
Like I said, Arnett.
Rasul Douglas and fucking.
Yeah, Rasul Douglas is okay. Honestly, Arnett I think was a stretch, and Mullins a stretch. The only guy in their secondary I like is Abram, and me
too. I like Abram
because he runs all over the place. He hits everybody, but he gets hurt. And they actually have him. They don't know whether he's going to start at outside linebacker or safety this year. So
I forgot they picked up Solomon Thomas too.
Solomon Thomas, another fucking bust. I can't wait to talk about that next episode about the 49ers.
I don't think he's a bust, but for how high he was taken, if he was taken in if he was taken in the second round. So yeah, I guess you're right.
It's fucking number 3. I can't wait.
I guess you're right.
I can't wait to fucking talk about that next episode. But no, their defensive line. If Farrell can play up to his fucking draft pick, then they have a nasty defensive line. If not, Max Crosby will take his job because he can play. So, again, Raiders, I can see them as the perfect fucking 8-9 team this year. I can just see it. And I think that would still, though, be over their win total.
Hey, real quick question about the Raiders before we move on.
Mm-hmm.
How the fuck is Nathan Peterman still employed?
You're telling me. So you're going to tell me, how's he in the league?
How is this guy in the league?
How's he in the league?
Remember he threw like 4 or 5 interceptions in a half?
Oh, my God. It was so bad.
It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. I'm like, this guy's never going to play again.
Oh, I know.
He gets he not only stays on the team, but then he gets picked up by another team.
I know.
They fucking started him one game like a year ago.
You remember that? They started him?
And Gruden was like, I love this kid. I'm like, what the fuck do you love? Is he like your? Does he play flag football for you?
I was gonna say
I don't know what he does.
He's either great at going to get coffee or he's unbelievable with the expo markers on the whiteboard. But I honestly think that with him and Matt Barkley with Buffalo, I mean, how are they in the league? It's like it looks like they don't play. They can't play when they get in.
Hey,
so.
real quick too. That brought me one more thing before we go. Buffalo Bills. I know we're going back for a second. You bringing up Barkley reminded me of that. We didn't talk about Mitch Trubisky going there. And I forgot when we talked about Mitch Trubisky being there, I forgot something crazy. They got Jake Fromm on the fucking roster, too.
Yeah.
He might suck, but...
Yeah. No, the reason why we didn't talk about Trubisky is because he's literally going to be a non-factor. You will see him standing on the sideline with a clipboard all year, not playing a snap. To me, I think Josh Allen is a durable guy. I think he's going to stay healthy. And you're going to see Trubisky collect whatever it was, $5 million for nothing. And he's going to love it because he's going to just, not have to have the pressure on him to play and all that shit. And then, they drafted Jake Fromm, I believe it was in the 5th round last year. He's a guy that just doesn't seem like, you want to talk about what you said about Trevor Lawrence earlier about adversity. I don't think that guy's ever had any adversity. So I don't know if he loves football at all. I know there's some reports that came out that he was, maybe he had said some racist shit on Twitter or whatever, but
remember that?
So I don't know if Fromm's the guy, but Trubisky, yeah, I just think with him it's all in his head, and he's got some talent. He's shown flashes sometimes, but I think he's donezo, man. I think he's Mariota. I think he's like he was drafted real high, and then all of a sudden he goes to another team and he's a career backup for the rest of his life.
Mariota, circle right back to the Raiders. I like
there you go. All right, baby. Man, this was good. Episode 12, we got the fucking AFC out of the way. Getting everybody ready for the NFL draft. Thursday night, April 29th. I can't fucking wait. We've been dying for it. Episode 13, we got the NFC left. And, of course, episode 14 will be our last show before the first round of the draft. And it's going to be Rocco B with the Dallas Cowboys, Scotty G with the New York Jets, and Dr. Tomas makes his return to talk about his Philadelphia fucking Eagles. And like you called them, the one episode, the Philadelphia Evils. But we are out of here. We had some fun. Scotty boy, what'd you think?
Yeah, it was okay.
I'm shocked you said it was okay. You got the rant on fucking Josh Allen for 20 minutes.
I had more I wanted to say.
Oh, God. Well, you could save it for episode 14. But until episode 13 with the NFC and a couple nuggets and bombs we're going to drop, I'm Rocco B. And for Scotty G, we'll say see you later. Sayonara.
Adios.